All you have to do to make it work is type in those numbers listed next to the TV shows in your newspaper listings or in TV Guide. The only problem with the VCR Plus, you're just not going to be able to yell at it.
Oh, I yell at it a lot, but we do have a VCR Plus, and I agree with you, it's better than the voice system. Now it's time for our next set of video recommendations, and the category is Kid Vid. And my first choice, in all seriousness I might add, is a musical tape named It's Potty Time, which I looked at because this is a major bestseller around the country. It uses the sing-along techniques of other popular kiddie videos to teach its young viewers about one of the indispensable social skills.
It's okay if you don't need to go right now, Katie. Just let me know when you do need to go to the potty.
Okay. Now quite a different movie, one recommended for adults as well as kids. Jason and the Argonauts, a simply spectacular film from 1963. Among the film's amazing scenes is the climatic battle between Jason and a group of ghostly skeletons. The supplemental material on this disc shows how special effects master Ray Harryhausen filmed the battle twice, once with only the actors and again with numbered stuntmen standing in for the skeletons. And here's the final version of the scene. And that is a 30-year-old film, and it's fresh as can be.
Yes, it is.
And it's really interesting to see because they show you how the actors are in back projection and the tabletop animated models are in front, and how they put it together, and it looks pretty convincing.
It looks very good, and we've gone obviously through a special effects revolution in the motion picture industry. That still works very well. Only Jason looks a little dated. Now, my kid video suggestions include Beethoven, a hit movie this past summer, about a family whose lives are changed after they adopt a baby St. Bernard. Charles Grodin is very funny as the dog-hating dad. And for small children, I'd like to recommend Farm Animals Close Up and Very Personal, which is great for little ones who can't get to a petting zoo. You know, I like those shots. When I go with my kids to like a county fair and we look at the farm animals, you want to see how they make the sound. So getting really tight and seeing, you know, the tongue make the sound.
Is this really the best kid vid you could find?
This is
close-ups of sheep.
Roger, this is, you laughed about, I didn't laugh about potty training. This is also a bestseller too, and it is very highly recommended. And if you are blessed with little ones, you're going to buy it.
Well, I think if I were that age, I'd rather learn about my potty techniques than look at those sheep.
What scares me is that I know that you would. That tape, by the way, only costs $15, and I think it's worth it. Next, we're going to take you on our annual tour of spectacular media rooms where home video quality is getting better and better.
Well, I'll be shameless, the player. And why?
Because no one sent me a copy of it.
City Slickers.
Why?
Because I'm in it and I have points.
And now it's fantasy time on our holiday video gift guide special, the time when money is no object because these are the kind of gifts you're going to give only to yourself. The fantasy of having your own media room, watching big screen, really big screen movies and TV. We're going to look at two such fantasies realized, one meant to be hidden away in a room which also serves as a family room, and the other, a room that proudly announces itself as a mini movie palace. You're looking at a dream under construction, a room which will serve two purposes when finished, as both a quiet family room and as a top-of-the-line media room. But the people who own this home have a lot of problems to deal with. Problems pointed out in a tour of the room by Tony Gramani, who works for Lucas Arts Entertainment, a company founded by George Lucas to create the superb THX sound system, now available in a home system going into this media room.
First thing I noticed was this channel over here. You see these three neatly concealed speakers in the ceiling are supposed to be providing the center channel information in the motion picture soundtrack. These speakers are going to beam right down into the floor, and of course, the listener is not going to hear them.
All right, we're back in the media room now. A couple of months later, the project is almost finished. They have a way of going on a little longer than you would suspect. Allow for that. How did they handle the three center channel speakers? Well, it's reduced to one big speaker, relatively big, placed in the center of the room. It's going to be placed on coasters and will be able to slide back when not in use into the media wall cabinet. The next problem also had to do with speakers, the rear speakers, which are so important to a surround sound system.
The surround channel in a film soundtrack should provide a sound field that's enveloping. that simulates what you have in real life when you have background noise and when you have effects, sounds that pan over your head. The best way to place these surround speakers is actually quite a bit higher in the wall.
And here is the original location of those rear surround sound speakers, which has been raised to here, which is much better. And a speaker will be placed in here. It will be covered with fabric to match the upholstered walls. And there was one other important audio problem to deal with, and it's caused by the room itself.
You can probably hear my voice right now. It sounds very reverberant, very echoey. And we don't want that.
Now listen to my voice. There's no echo in the room. How is that achieved? By upholstering the walls. There's padding behind this fabric. It gives you a bounce here, but no bouncing of voices. Well, that takes care of the sound. Now, how do you get the best picture available? It doesn't look like there's any way to see a picture in this bright room, but hit a couple of switches, and the blackout shades roll down to cover the French doors and the large windows. An 8-foot diagonal screen slides out of a ceiling well. Turn on the overhead Panasonic industrial projector and kick in this Perugia video processor, a machine that's capable of doubling video images so that you get a much cleaner picture. Turn out the lights and you're in video heaven. One final note, the owners of this room realized that they would probably be watching more television than movies, and as a result, they invested in all of this high-tech equipment. But they also invested in one other thing, and that is a satellite dish placed on their roof to give them pure signal, video signal, and pure signal sound. The result is an astonishing picture that I think anticipates HD TV. It is certainly of that quality. And so you've come from this to this. The best in light dish placed on their roof to give them pure signal, video signal, and pure signal sound. The result is an astonishing picture that I think anticipates HD TV. It is certainly of that quality. And so you've come from this
1992.
to this. The best in home video in a room that can hide it all away.
Wow. Part 5.
And this is the kind of home theater that people build if they want to go to the movies without ever leaving home. It has its own marquee. It's the Lyric Theater. It has its own ticket seller, Oliver Hardy. And let's go inside and look at all the bells and whistles. Inside, you'll find a miniature movie palace, an 11-seat theater that really looks like a movie house. It's one of several home theater layouts available from Theater Design Associates of New York. That company says it can install one of these babies in a day, prefab. But the owner of this house and the electronics expert who helped him found out that's only under certain conditions.
This particular room had to be done custom because the length wasn't quite long enough to set it up.
Yeah.
Our ceiling height was lower. There were soffits in here that had to be taken into consideration. So everything was done on a custom basis.
Now, if you had a room that was the right size, what would it cost you for this theater, not counting the electronic equipment?
Around $25,000.
When you spend that much on the room, you're going to want the latest in video technology, and this room has it. There's a home version of the Lucas THX sound system with special amps and speakers to surround you with movie sound. A top-of-the-line Pioneer Laserdisc player gives the best quality pictures, and this cutting-edge Harman video projector gives you the next best thing to high-definition delivery. Here's a ballpark figure on this electronic equipment, the sound and the video.
About $35,000.
So this room altogether is around $60,000.
Correct.
You heard it right. The cost of the equipment in that video-dedicated room is approximately $35,000. But for an HD TV equivalent room right now, well, if you got the dough, that doesn't seem nuts to me.
I have not yet experienced satellite, although I know that people who do have satellite TV systems love them.
Right.
I'll tell you this about big screen projection TV. It looks terrific,
Yeah.
and it's really come a long way since those days that a lot of people are familiar with, where you would go into the sports bar and you have to line up right in front
Yes.
of the set in order to see the picture.
Yes.
Now you can look at it from any angle just like a movie.
Even if you don't have the money, I think one of the messages on this section of the show that we're really giving is that it is worth checking out because the technology is really quite
You know,
a bit.
Gene, both Sharp and Panasonic have one lens systems that
Yeah.
cost a good deal less, around the $1,000, $2,000 mark for
Yeah.
a 40-inch or a 50-inch picture, and that's not bad. Our next video segment is one that has been one of our most popular over the years, maybe because a lot of people like to collect tapes of classic TV shows. I have a couple of recommendations.